Welcome to the Nifty Chicks. In this episode, we chat with Heather Rae Doyle, who is the co-founder of CoinQueens. She's leading the way to help onboard women into the world of Web3 and NFTs through her innovative program, Wine, Women, and Wallets. Let's do this.
Hey, welcome to the Nifty Chicks. We are excited to have Heather, who is the co-founder of CoinQueens. Welcome to the show, Heather. We're excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. I feel like we had a conversation a long time ago about CoinQueens and what you're doing. And I think what you have started is much needed. So I would love to hear just a little bit of the background in how you came about founding CoinQueens and what prompted the decision to start it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely super organic and unexpected to even be at this point. So we had started, when I started, my husband and I were recreational crypto investors. We had a friend who was a Bitcoin miner. And so we were just playing in that sense. He's like, you should invest in this. And we're like, this is crazy, but why not? And as we had success with that, then our network of friends were like, hey, we want to participate in that. And then just managing, the self-custody risks, and just following what are you investing in, what are you buying, it just became more of a burden than people wanted to take on. So it became apparent that creating a fund made a lot of sense for our community. So we created CoinQueens, which is an institutional crypto fund. We have about 5.5 million assets under management now, and it's been a blast. And when that kicked off, me being the only female in the group was fielding a lot of questions from the spouses, being like, hey, I was about to get this amazing new kitchen remodel and now I'm not because my husband took his bonus and it's going into your fund. Like what? And so like I'm on the tennis court being like, whoa. And they're like, what the hell is crypto? And I was like, okay. And so I was trying to like have these conversations one-on-one, but it clearly wasn't scalable. So there was a lot. So I said, here, let me put an event together. So I called it Wine, Women, and Wallets. I hosted it, and I expected 3 women to come at the most. I'm like, tech and finance, like no one's coming to talk about this. They said they want to learn, but they just want their money and they want to. And we had 22 women come. It blew my mind. And by the end of it, everyone was like setting up wallets.
What year? How long ago was this, Heather?
So the first Wine, Women, and Wallets, I believe, was in March, end of March.
Okay. March 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I specifically remember we were on a ski trip with a few families, and I was like, when we were taking breaks, I was literally like working on my presentation, like the first Wine, Women, and Wallets, just like putting it together, trying to think about what makes sense for what do they need to know, but like what really isn't that important. I feel like a lot of information that we get now is so detailed. You're like, that's like not necessary to want to invest in crypto, right? It goes too deep. Like it's good for the developers, not for the general consumer. But anyway, so the women from that group, it kind of went in different directions. Some of them were like an older group of ladies were like, we want to buy a Bored Ape together. So basically like fractionally buying that with like a group of women who are like, our grandkids think this is cool, but we're going to buy one. We're going to get one before they ever even have a chance. And then, or maybe just like managing, their portfolios, being like, okay, I'm going to my husband can participate in a fund, but I want to play, I want to do something. And if women love NFTs, it's the art, the community. So that was a natural, like, what should we be buying? But of that group of women, and as it grew, and as I hosted other events, nobody wants to participate in Twitter or Discord. Not a one of them. They don't. They want to be like, Heather, what should we buy? What should we invest in, right? And I would expect that to be the same. I think there's a certain group of women like us that are here that want to learn and spend the hours and the time, but the general consumer doesn't. They just want to know what's a good buy, what's fun community to be in, what's the great perks. And so, so then as that took off and went going very well, and I participated in more NFT projects, I kept hearing the same story from women over and over again. How do I connect with my in real life community? How do I teach women in my life about NFTs and crypto and get them on board so I don't seem like this crazy person or I'm just talking to people on the internet all day. So I was like, I should really just like clone myself. Like people need to be hosting these everywhere. And so I was like, all right, I could manage like, 50 or less women. And I knew the women were there, like really smart, entrepreneurial, motivated women on all these different projects. And they're like buying NFTs thinking, this is my ticket to like awesome crypto wealth, or this is my ticket to creating this amazing brand. And I'm like, hey, no, you're just supporting that brand, which is cool, but like, you're not supporting yourself. And so I ended up with about a little over 30 women who came on to CoinQueens, and we did this like little private launch party. It was like a little private minting experience. The NFTs looked similar to what's on my screen, different colors and all that. And it was just a way to kind of like formalize our group, right? It's not like a traditional NFT. There's no like floor, there's no trading. It's just a formalized group, right? And that NFT gives you access to, our website has token gated things that they can use at their events, and we have our Telegram chat and all that sort of stuff. So now I have women. I was telling you before the call started, we just had one of my queens hosted a sold out event on a Zoom with 100 women from North Africa, from Tunisia. I like educated. I like cried at the end. It was like so emotional.
That's so amazing.
I love hearing that.
It's mind blowing, and also mind blowing to learn like there's certain things that they could go to jail for, which is also crazy, being involved in Web3. And then, but to think in March, I was just like at a club hosting a happy hour, trying to like educate my friends, and now we're like today, like it blows my mind. And it just shows the need and the desire for the education and the understanding that, okay, I smell opportunity here. I smell like something good. I want to participate, and it just having that leadership to help take them down, how to successfully do that.
Oh, that's so good. I think it's so needed, and it's really aligns with everything that the Nifty Chicks is all about, is really getting more women involved and giving them a seat at the table to have the discussions around crypto and their own investments, taking ownership of it. And so I absolutely love what you are doing. And one of the things that I hear a lot is the struggle to understand it in layman's terms that are digestible terms. So what are you using as kind of techniques to help break it down to a level that like us women can understand what crypto is, what is an NFT, and why should I care?
So I think that the typical woman does not need to know all the nitty gritty. So I typically like to equate it to a credit card. Like, do you know what happens when you take that little piece of plastic and you swipe it at Target and it communicates with Target and your bank and those transactions happen? You have no idea, but you know that it's safe and that you can trust it. And it's the same idea to me with cryptocurrency. It's a currency. It's a digital currency. You can explain what the blockchain is if you like a little bit, but they don't need to know that. Like, I think we have come to, and we are like, Bitcoin is this, store of value. It's this digital gold, and we want everyone to know how great it is and how much they should invest in it. But for the general consumer, she just needs to be empowered to use it safely and go, this is what I should be investing in. This is what I should be considering buying. And then I think there is a little bit of, you got to go try it too. You know what I mean? Like there is a lot that you learn just from like spending $100 here, $50 there, just how that works. So I think, within certain parameters, giving them the rules of the road and then letting them be free a little bit, I think it's like kind of like ripping the training wheels off your child's bike, but at the same time, it works, I think. So just trying to make it relatable, but just also not so scary.
Yeah, I love that idea of like, let's start with $100, right? Let's start with a dollar value where you're okay losing it. You're not gonna, be in financial struggles if you lose $100 or $50 or $20 or $200 or $500, whatever that benchmark is for individuals. Let's start small and get, familiar with the way things work. And so I absolutely love that idea. I think that's the way to go for everyone. Regardless of what we're talking about, like that is how we should be thinking about investing here.
Yeah, and then I think it's fun. Like once they set up a wallet, and if they put $100 of crypto in it, they're like, "I'm a crypto investor. I invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum." You know, all of a sudden they're like, "Okay," and they're feeling like, "Does their husband invest in it? Maybe not." So they're like, "Oh, honey, have you heard of Bitcoin? Yeah, I'm an investor now." I mean, I love that. Like I love that. And it is an attitude shift. There isn't one woman that doesn't open that wallet and be like, "Wait a minute, I own Bitcoin. I own Ethereum," and you're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "I'm awesome," and you're like, "Yes, you are."
I love
it's so funny you say that because this has been years ago, but I remember sitting on the couch with one of my friends talking about crypto and Bitcoin and all that. And she was very curious. And I was like, let's just do it. Let's do it. And so I'm like, go get your phone right now, go get your wallet. And we're going to open you a Coinbase account and you're going to put $10 in there and we're going to buy $10 of Bitcoin. And then she's like, oh, wait, I can do like an automatic withdrawal every 2 weeks. And so she did that. And I can't remember what amount she did. It was like $25 every 2 weeks. So, $50 a month or something like that. And so now, however many years later, I think it's been like, 3 or 4 years. And she's like, oh my God, I looked at my wallet the other day and I've got like 10 grand in there just from, obviously the price of Bitcoin going up and then just putting that little bit every month. And it's one of those things, she's just set it and forgot about it and looks at it, once a year or whatever. And I think it's amazing if you can do that.
It is so nice. And what I think that even on the other side, what's nice for those of us that are invested in it already, when a girl opens or a woman opens her wallet for the first time, she always has like a perspective on it or thoughts or relates it to something in her industry or her business or in her life. And you're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Like it's better. The more women that are talking about it, it's just better for all of us because not only do they have the knowledge to go maybe use it in some way in their business, but it does help on this side as well, to get those reactions and those more female brains thinking about it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, because it's a harsh reality of the markets today. So you launched this in March, and I'm sure you've had quite a few people, taking $100 and investing in it, and then they watch it drop since then. How are you navigating? And I want you to share with our audience, like how to think about these market drops and how to kind of work through it, because it's not going to be the last one we're going to see, just like in traditional markets. So talk to me about like kind of what you're telling your network and your members.
Yeah. So besides the fact that I like the way that it trends with the traditional market, I think that's great. But I like to think of it this way. So people pay so much attention to price. And price is important, but we're still in the adoption phase of Bitcoin, right? Like we're still in this network effect, right? So the network is still growing. So think of it this way, what the price was, 13 years ago, divided by how many wallets? Like what's the value of Bitcoin then? Think about how big the network is now and the price that you think, oh, it's so low, but no, because the network is so much bigger. And that's where, when you talk about the feasibility of Bitcoin, like becoming that, that its own ecosystem, right? Where you don't have to have these on ramps and off ramps to participate in it, where it is big enough, where that network is large enough, where you're just paying and exchanging value in Bitcoin. So I think making sure that women understand they're not investing in a dollar. They're not investing in a dollar. They're investing in a new currency, right? That is in a current adoption phase that while the price may be down, the value of the network is massive compared to what it was when it started. So just trying to help them understand, because most women aren't investing, right? Traditional. So I think those sort of like price value things, they're not going to think of that on their own. So just trying to have those real conversations about where you are and not selling, unicorns in the sky. I mean, clearly, I think we're past the point of Bitcoin. It's proven itself. It's not just to blow up and explode and disappear one day, right? Like it's here. It has a purpose. And I think we can safely say that. And now it's just, watching the network grow, and it is. And something like Ethereum, the network's growing even faster. Like, you can look at those numbers. It can be as simple as literally, like I just said, the price divided by the number of wallets. I mean, the number of wallets is exponentially grown for Ethereum. It's amazing to look at, and so when you look at that, I think it gives a little bit of ease,
I would love to see those numbers of like comparing from, when Bitcoin started, when Ethereum started to today. That would be, I don't know if that's out there somewhere. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Say it off the top of my head, but I'm not going to say it right. I'm not one of those people who I have it written down, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
But I can share it with you. You can post it.
Yeah, if you have it, I would love to see that, and we can put it in the show notes and share it with everybody, because I think that's just a really cool way to look at how things are growing and changing.
Yeah. I think right now price isn't as important as the value, and I like to drive that fact home. And so
I like that.
Yep, agreed. So I want to hear more about the wine women and wallets. And I mean, I know I was looking at the website, and you are like expanding and growing, and you've got, like you were talking about, you had the event with 100 women in Northern Africa. And I know you mentioned an event in New York City, and there's a bunch of other places that you are expanding to. So just tell us how that looks and how, you get involved. And I know before we hit the record button, we were talking about us potentially, Jen FT and I, doing something here in Puerto Rico, and hopefully we can make that happen before the end of the year.
Yeah. So, absolutely. So the women who joined, because there was just one of me, right? Like, easy for me to host these in real life in my communities. And I work with a nonprofit. So creating like collections and things and helping them, access all of this, but then taking it outside of my little bubble and expanding it to my CoinQueens team. So there's about 30 of us now, but everyone's in a different place as far as, not in their education. They're all extremely skilled in their current industry, and they're all very well Web3 educated, but just in their place of where they want to be growing. But they all want to be onboarding their in real life communities, and they all want to be talking about this with more people than just me on Telegram and you guys on Twitter, right? So one of my CoinQueens this week, on Thursday, we have one in Chicago, and she's a jewelry designer. And so we were talking about this before, her jewelry designs were in New York Fashion Week this year. She partnered with a fashion designer who was a newer fashion designer, and she's growing her brand. She's from Brazil, and she's going to do this wine, women, and wallets, educate these women on the basics, right? And then at the end, they'll be able to mint her NFT that gives them access to discounts to her jewelry line, and access to exclusive collections that she'll do, and future wine, women, and wallet events, because we have additional events that go deeper to learn more if you want to just move past being a consumer and maybe you want to be a little more serious investor. And then I have another girl, she's a Cornell educated hospitality manager. She is brilliant, and she has taken that hospitality mindset and taken it into the metaverse, and she builds in Horizon Worlds in the Oculus. And she was the one who we just did the wine, women, and wallets for in Northern Africa. And I was telling you, I cried at the end of that, because to think about end of March, I'm in my, club with my girlfriends. And then now I'm opening these doors. One of the women that was there is a 25-year-old disabled artist. And through Nadia, one of my CoinQueens, and the education we've given her, she created her first NFT collection already. She does motivational speaking. Like, she's this amazing powerhouse woman. And now she's going to use this technology to even expand her impact even more. And it's emotional. Like, it's just like, how? Yeah. And how am I just, sharing? So now Nadia is going to be using the wine, women, and wallets to help educate women on how to build in the metaverse, which is like, what? And so right now, for hosting it, my CoinQueens are the only ones hosting it. And we are, because they're, again, like when we started, just myself and I'm trying to make sure I can manage the brand and manage the integrity of the content. So we are thinking about how we expand it outside and allowing more people to come on and to host these themselves. And hopefully, I think January 1, we'll be able to expand our offerings and take on more coin queens who want to start building the brand in their own communities as well.
That's
Very
so
cool.
exciting. I could totally see this becoming like this new kind of movement.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you know, you touched on this just a second ago, but I think it's powerful what you just mentioned about your time, the most recent event in Northern Africa. Can you just elaborate on like what you did there and the impact that you may have had?
I mean, so it blew my mind, the women this is not conversations happening over there, right? Cryptocurrency, NFTs, there's no conversation of that over there. And so this group of women included that 25-year-old motivational speaker. There was like blue check mark, millions of followers, influencers over there who are thinking, how do I monetize what I'm doing, right? In Northern Africa, how do I monetize my fan base, my consumer group? And I think coming off of that, the emails that we've been getting, being like, okay, I set up my wallet, like I'm ready to go. How do I start creating an NFT collection? How do I engage with my fans? Because that's something also I talk about is, get out of the NFT bubble and think about it as a technology. It is a way to engage with your consumer. It is a way to build your brand's, even more loyal, consumer. And so I just think having this group of women, this small group of women, take this technology and use it in their business, and the network that effect that will create is just mind blowing, because that's huge. Like that's a big network of people to be equipped with, and then go home to their friends and be like, oh my gosh, you have to do this. And then they're going to funnel on like our platform. I was telling you that's not Web3 gated. It's totally accessible, easy. And they can ask us questions, enter, network, like all the things. I can't wait. I don't even know what I think it's going to be, because I can't even imagine having thought that I would be talking to women from Northern Africa about Web3 in the first place.
I know, right? That's
right?
Amazing. That's amazing.
So wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. And in such a short time too. You've really, it's just exploded.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to the desire for women and how smart they are to go recognize the opportunity, right? And they're like, I don't want to sit back on this one. It's like when the internet started and everyone sniffed that something cool was happening, but didn't really know how to participate in it, right? And it feels like now social media and the internet has given the opportunity, like smell, to spread farther and stronger. And women are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I think we have the opportunity to, everyone says, and empower women. And this is the whole reason that CoinQueens started, because I couldn't sit on another Twitter space listening about women empowerment and being like, buy my NFT. And I'm like, I can't. And women are such good consumers, and they are so good at thinking they're consuming their way to wealth. It's like infuriating. And I basically was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm coming to town and we're doing this different. And so now, and we were talking about it before we started recording, is the CoinQueens that joined also aligned with all the things we're talking about. But then we're like, hey, you have a crypto fund? Like, we want to invest. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Why was that not a topic in my brain leading up to this group of really brilliant women? Like, why wasn't I like formulating a plan for them to actually invest, not just build their business, which is one way, but get some skin in the game in a good way. And
right.
So yeah, now we're creating like an investment vehicle for them to enter. They typically wouldn't have the capital requirements to enter a crypto fund. And now we're creating an LLC to give them that opportunity to come in and actually generate wealth, not buy an NFT and like belong to a Discord community, which is great. I love that. But like, that serves a purpose, but not generational wealth.
Yeah.
Separate those.
100%. Yeah. And I want to actually hear a little bit more about the fund that you and your husband have created. So just share a little bit about to someone who, may not know how funds work, other than just like, I create a crypto.com account and I buy Bitcoin. Sure. What do you do? What are you doing differently?
Okay. So if you just go on an exchange and buy currency, then and you leave it on that exchange, then you actually, that's one thing we don't do. Like if you buy currency, we always take it right off the exchange and put it in a hardware wallet.
Which 100% we tell everybody to do that. Do not leave your money on any exchange ever, please.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you want to do some staking, like that's fun, and then there's certain cases where you need to have it, on the exchange. But overall, buy it, take it off. So my friend who introduced us to it, Scott. So he is the brainchild, Georgia Tech engineer. He was the Bitcoin miner. Him, and then his partner, or not partner, like his friend Mike. He was a Lightning node operator. So these two guys were like our brilliant brainchild of crypto. They have known, like bought Bored Apes at nothing, just the brilliant people. And I thought they were crazy the whole way. And now I've accepted their genius. So the reason the fund started is because all of our friends didn't want that self-custody risk. So kind of what we were just talking about. So if I did tell a friend, sure, you want to spend $100,000 and invest in some Bitcoin, then what that means is they have to either leave it on the exchange or they're taking that hardware wallet and then they're in charge of it. And they're like, what if I die? Like, I don't know what to do with this. These are like real things. Like this is the actual conversation. This is like, yes, you can do it your own self, but these are the self-custody risk is a real thing. So we were like, okay. And then you have Scott and Mike who are talking to protocols all day, talking to exchanges, all of these, like they're big proponents of stacks. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them, building on Bitcoin. And so that's what they do all day. Like they are always researching, always talking. So the fund was going to give people access to their brain, basically, right? Like they're moving our fund. It's like two-pronged. It's very conservative. It started as a friends and family fund. So, Bitcoin, Ethereum, very nice blue chip stuff. There is some NFTs, but there is like emerging coins and there's these things that they're investing in, moving, and that's their brains. And that's what you pay for. And then we have, multi-sig wallets, and everyone has a seed phrase and a safe place. And then we have, if someone dies, it all goes around. Like it's like a layer of protection just because it is still, a risk. Digital ownership is a beautiful thing, but it's a dangerous thing also, right? If you don't manage it properly. So that's kind of the reason the fund started. And I think why it's had success, because no one's going to sit around researching this stuff or staying on top of the trends. No one wants to, right? That's why you have a traditional financial advisor. And now you're going to have crypto financial advisors.
That's right. Love it.
Makes sense. Yeah. So we kind of talked about this before we hit the record button again, but you are going to be at some upcoming events. You're going to be speaking at the Web3 Summit. You're going to be at Art Basel. I'm still debating if I'm going to make it there or not. What are you speaking on at Web3?
So I don't know my panel topic yet, but it is firmly not going to be able to be talked about being a woman. I can't talk about being a girl, but so that's my one rule. I won't talk about it. You can't reference my gender. I don't want to talk about it. So I don't know I don't know what, I can't anymore. I have the amount of women's rights stuff. I love women's rights. Hello, I'm a woman in finance, but we're past, I need to help you make money. So let's talk about investing it, not the fact I'm a girl that invested. But yeah, so we'll be at the Web3 Summit, and some of my CoinQueens team is going to be down there with me. We are going to do, if you're familiar with Miss O Cool Girls, they're an amazing NFT project. She actually has a real life, Disney and YouTube series called Hyperlinked from several years ago. And they've transitioned into an NFT project. It's kind of helping young girls be safe in Web3, because we don't even do a great job keeping them safe in Web2. And they have this fund called the Girls Who Mint Fund. I'm going to do a little plug for them. Here I go. I'm plugging them. And so for every young girl that opens a wallet with Miss O, they give them $100 of free Ethereum. So if you have daughters, it's amazing. And it's just, it's just fun. I think it was Eunice who gave them the money. I can't remember. I'm trying to plug all the people, but I can't. So, but the Miss O, and then Unblocked is another founder that I'm working with, and we're doing a dinner series called Creating the Container. It's helping connect like women founders and funders and thought leaders, like at an intimate, dinner series to kind of help really make things happen. Again, like not really talking about the women empowerment, but like putting it all together so that women can do that and work together. It makes a difference. They did one, and I was supposed to go to, and I didn't, sadly. I was at NFT NYC. I'm sure you guys were as well.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And so they did a 25-person dinner series, and it was the waves of those connections being made, like when women who are really working in here get together. I think that stuff is important, clearly, because I'm hosting One Women Walls. I just want all the women together doing business.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I will definitely keep in touch with you and let you know if I decide to go. I'm leaning towards I really want to go. It's just I've had a lot of trouble, and
I get it.
It's the holidays and all that good stuff. But I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show. This has been fabulous, and I'm super excited. So Jen FT and I are going to do a little brainstorming about how we can come up with something great to offer everybody here in Puerto Rico. And then we will be bringing a Wine, Women, and Wallets, at least one, maybe multiple events here to Puerto Rico with you.
I tell you, once you host one, every woman that hosts one is like, oh my gosh, I need to do this more and more. It's like, there's nothing like the high of like introducing women to like a new financial opportunity. Yeah. And I'm just as high every time. I'm like, oh, it's so exciting,
I already know what it'll happen to me because I've done events and I love doing stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to it. I just want to make sure that we have. Yeah, I just want to make sure we have something great to give to everybody that comes. So, so I did before we let you go, I just wanted, can you share with everybody what's the best way to connect with you, to find out more about what you're doing, and stay up to date?
Yeah. Okay. So our website is CoinQueens.io, and that's on there. You'll have a link. I think the best way to connect, especially if you're new to Web3, yep, there it is right there, is go to CoinQueens.io, and you'll see a button to join CoinQueens Circle. And so the whole idea is that platform is to help. It's a curated place with trusted information about the basics, right? Like as much as you need to know to start your journey. And then I do job postings regularly. I'm in a lot of alpha incubator builder groups. So women who are trying to transition into Web3, I'm constantly putting up job postings. There's a lot of collaboration opportunities in there for businesses looking for beta testers and things. Or you can just come hang out with us, ask us questions, be mentored, be like, hey, how do I build my business? How do I tokenize my loyalty reward program or whatever, So I would say that's the best place to find us. And I'm CoinQueens everywhere on social, so usually pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, Amazing. Thank you so much, Heather. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun. Good to see you. Maybe I'll see you in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I absolutely adore her. I adore her brand, the whole thing. And I just love the name of what she's doing, what she's building, the Wine, Women, and Wallets. It's just so perfect. I love it.
I agree. And I have to say, I am super jazzed about the idea of us hosting some of our own events here in Puerto Rico to, bring awareness about what she's doing and what we're doing, and just combine the two things and just, like we've said many times, I mean, our main mission is to get more women into the space, and that's exactly what she's doing. So this is perfect match.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So that being said, just make sure that you are following us on all the socials. You can find us at the Nifty Chicks. That's the Nifty NIFTY Chicks CHICKS.
Yep. And as always, thank you so much for listening to the Nifty Chicks. Always remember, invest in yourself. You are worth it. Please listen carefully to the following disclaimer. Neither the host nor the guests of the Nifty Chicks podcast are acting in the capacity of financial advisors. We wish to remain transparent and impartial to the NFT community at all times, and therefore, the content provided by the Nifty Chicks hosts and guests are intended for general information purposes only. Nothing written or discussed by the Nifty Chicks hosts and guests should be construed or relied upon as investment, financial, legal, regulatory, accounting, tax, or similar advice. Nothing should be interpreted as a solicitation to invest in any cryptocurrency or NFT, and nothing herein should be construed as a recommendation to engage in any investment strategy or transaction. Please be advised that it is in your own best interest to consult with investment, legal, tax, or similar professionals regarding any specific situation and any prospective transaction decisions. You must do your own research when considering investing in cryptocurrencies or NFTs. We are simply sharing our journey with you as we learn more about the world of NFTs. Happy minting.